Over the past 2 years, I have spent hundreds of hours researching the case of Alex Connor. I spoke with his family, friends, witnesses, and investigators. I watched hours of surveillance footage, studied police reports, and traveled those same routes Alex took on that fateful night. The disappearance of the 20-year-old college student remains one of New England's most puzzling unsolved stories. October 31st, 2023, began as an ordinary day in the small town of Willowbrook, Massachusetts. Population around 23,000, quiet streets, low crime rate. Here, Halloween is a family holiday. Kids in costumes go door to door. Parents decorate their homes. Alex Connor, a sophomore at the local college, had come home for the weekend. His mother, Deborah Connor, whom I met in her house, remembers that day with painful clarity. Alex came downstairs around 10 in the morning, made himself coffee. He was in a good mood, chatting with friends about the party. Deborah pauses, her hands wrapped around a cold cup of tea. We sit in the Connor family living room. On the wall, family photos. In one, Alex smiles in his graduation gown. Around 3 p.m., Alex drove to the Willowbrook Mall. Surveillance videos I obtained through a Freedom of Information Act request show a young man of average height, dark hair, wearing jeans and a gray jacket. He enters a costume shop, waits in line for the cashier. But on these same clips, there's something that caught the attention of Detective Mark Holland, who led the case. In the background, by the opposite wall of the mall, stands a figure in a dark hooded jacket. The person is motionless, gaze fixed on Alex. As Alex leaves the store, the figure starts moving after him. I've watched these frames dozens of times. The hooded figure follows Alex at a steady distance, around 10 meters. As Alex walks to the parking lot, the figure keeps following. The video quality is too poor to see a face or determine age or gender. Retired Detective Mark Holland agreed to meet me at a cafe near his home. A 70-year-old man with gray hair and tired eyes, he spent 42 years in law enforcement. The Connor case was the last of his career, and the only one he never solved. That footage from the mall still haunts me, Holland says. Someone was clearly watching Alex, even in daylight. We tried to identify the person, but couldn't. The hood hid the face. The clothes were generic. Black jacket, no distinguishing marks. We checked everyone who was in the mall at the time, hundreds of people. No one recalled seeing the hooded figure. Either it was a local who knew how to blend in, or an outsider who knew exactly what they were doing. Alex returned home around 4 p.m. and spent the rest of the afternoon in his room. His mother remembers hearing the sounds of video games. Around 7:30, he got dressed and left home, saying he wouldn't be out late. Those were the last words I heard from him. "Don't worry, Mom, I'll be back by 1. I didn't even hug him goodbye, just waved. Deborah falls silent, her voice shaky. Alex's father, Robert Connor, is present for the conversation, staring out the window. He hasn't said a word since the interview began. The party was at Brandon Mitchell's house, a friend of Alex's from school. I met Mitchell at his apartment in a neighboring town. Now he works as a manager at a construction company. The memories from that night are clearly difficult for him. There were about 12 people, he recalls. Just a regular party, nothing special. We drank beer, talked, played music. Alex was in a good mood, laughing and joking. Nothing seemed wrong. Around 10 p.m., the power went out in the whole neighborhood. Mitchell remembers checking the fuse box in the basement, but the issue was out on the street. The outage affected several blocks, a typical event during windy nights in their area. We went out on the porch to look. Everything was dark. Then we heard a strange sound from the yard, a scraping, maybe scratching. Mike shone his phone light over, but saw nothing. We decided it was just the wind. With no electricity, the party lost its energy. Some people left. Alex stayed until midnight. Jessica Parker, another guest whom I spoke with by phone, remembers telling the local legend of the man in the clown mask. It was just a well-known urban myth, but in the dark that night, It sounded eerie. Alex listened, smiled. He didn't seem scared or uneasy, just a regular guy at a Halloween party. Around midnight, Alex said goodbye and walked out to his car. Brandon Mitchell saw his friend get into a silver Honda Accord and drive away. That was the last time anyone who knew Alex saw him alive. I still blame myself. I should have walked him out, made sure he left safely, but I just waved and shut the door. What happened next was reconstructed from surveillance footage. I obtained copies of the tapes from the police and reviewed them with a video analysis expert. Alex's car leaves the Mitchell neighborhood at 12:07 a.m. On traffic camera footage at the Main Street stoplight, the silver Honda pauses for a red light. The time is 12:14. A black Ford Expedition with tinted windows pulls up behind him. When the light turns green, both vehicles drive off. In subsequent camera clips, you can see the Honda making a series of sharp turns, right, then left, then right again. Clearly, it's weaving. The SUV follows every turn, always keeping about 30 meters behind. Video analysis expert Thomas Weiner points to key details. The Honda's driver is obviously trying to get away. Look at the speed, the abrupt turns. This isn't normal driving. Whoever's behind the wheel knows they're being followed and is trying to shake their tail. At 12:23, both cars turn toward the old industrial district on the eastern edge of town. After that, they disappear from all surveillance cameras. There's no video coverage in that area. Karen Ashley, a nurse working night shifts at Willowbrook Hospital, became a key witness. I met her at her cozy two-story home not far from the industrial zone. I was driving home from work around midnight, passing by the old warehouses, and I saw two cars. One looked like an SUV, the other like a sedan. They were parked by one of the buildings. I didn't stop, just drove past. Only later did I realize it might have been important. Ashley reported this to police only on November 3rd after she saw news about Alex's disappearance. Detective Holland immediately organized a sweep of the warehouse district. In one of the warehouses, an abandoned former textile factory, they found signs of recent activity. There were fresh tire tracks in the dusty floor and a fresh puddle of motor oil in one corner. Most importantly, stuck on a nail by the entrance was a scrap of black fabric. Forensic analysis showed the fibers matched the hoodie Alex bought earlier that day at the mall. This was the first physical evidence placing him at a specific location after the party. But the most critical clue came from a parking lot surveillance camera at an abandoned shopping center on the town's west side. Timestamp, 12:32 a.m., November 1st. I've watched this footage over 100 times. It lasts 2 minutes and 17 seconds and contains the eeriest moments of the whole case. A silver Honda pulls onto the empty lot and parks in a far, shadowy corner, away from the building entrance. Seconds later, a black Ford Expedition enters, stopping next to the Honda, barely 2 meters away. Alex Connor gets out of his car. He stands by his vehicle. His body language shows no sign of panic or fear. Then a second figure emerges from the SUV. The video quality is poor, the distance great, and the lighting bad. It's impossible to make out the face of the person from the SUV, or even estimate their age. Only a figure in dark clothing is visible, possibly a jacket or hoodie. The two figures stand side by side for 27 seconds. They don't move actively. It seems they are talking. Alex does not try to run or call for help. Then both figures walk to the SUV and get in. The car turns around and leaves the parking lot. The Honda remains in place. Video expert Thomas Weiner points out crucial details. Look at Alex's posture. His hands aren't raised. He isn't defensive. When they go to the SUV, he walks first, on his own. The person from the SUV follows, doesn't push him or restrain him. It almost looks like a voluntary meeting. This observation raises more questions than it answers. If Alex met with this person willingly, Why was he trying to shake someone following him earlier? Did he know the SUV's driver? If so, why did no one in his circle know about the meeting? On the morning of November 1st, Deborah Connor entered her son's room. The bed was slightly rumpled, but Alex was gone. His car was missing. His phone didn't answer. By evening, the family called police. Alex's car was found on November 2nd at the same parking lot where he was last seen. The vehicle was neatly parked and locked. Inside were his backpack, wallet, driver's license, and credit cards. On the passenger seat lay his phone with a dead battery. Technical examination found no trace of violence or a struggle in the car. No foreign fingerprints except Alex's and his parents'. The trunk was empty. The only strange thing, Alex left all his things behind. Detective Holland recalls this moment in the investigation. When we found the car, with all his belongings still inside, the nature of the case changed. If he'd left voluntarily to start a new life, why leave behind his documents and phone? But if something bad happened, why was the car so carefully parked? Nothing made sense. Alex's phone was sent for forensic analysis. The last message was sent at 11:30 p.m. on October 31st. A thank you to Brandon for the party. After that, there was no activity, but the analysis revealed one odd detail that opened a new avenue for investigation. At 4:17 p.m. on October 31st, Alex received a text from an unknown number. The message was short and disturbing. "I know where you are." Alex didn't reply, didn't save the number, and didn't mention it to any friends. Police tried to trace the number, but it was a disposable phone bought for cash in a store in a neighboring town. Surveillance cameras in the store were not working that day. Holland considers this message crucial. Someone knew Alex's location and sent him a threatening text. Presumably, the same person was following him in the mall. This wasn't random or a spontaneous crime. It was planned. On November 3rd, the story hit the news. Local TV stations showed Alex's photo and asked anyone with information to contact police. Deborah Connor gave an emotional interview. I reviewed the footage. Alex's mother struggles to hold back tears. Her voice shakes. "If anyone knows anything, please tell us. We just want to know what happened. We just want our son home." Calls started pouring in immediately. In the next week, police received over 200 tips. Several people claimed they saw Alex in various parts of the state and even in neighboring states. All of these leads were checked, but each turned out to be a false alert. One call, however, captured the detective's special attention. An anonymous male caller said he saw a black SUV following a light-colored car on Halloween night in the Warehouse District. The caller refused to give his name and hung up. Attempts to call back went unanswered. It turned out to be a payphone at a gas station 30 kilometers from town. On November 4th, a large search operation was launched. More than 150 volunteers, including Alex's friends, community members, and college students, combed the forests and fields around Willowbrook. Dogs, drones, and thermal cameras were used. The search continued for 5 days, but turned up nothing. Holland dug deeper into Alex's circle. Every friend and acquaintance was checked for alibis and possible motives. Brandon Mitchell stayed home after the party with 3 friends until 3 a.m. All confirmed his alibi. Jessica Parker went home around 11:30 and was with her roommates all night. Mike Thompson, another party guest, left around midnight and was home with his parents. But one person's alibi raised questions. Tyler Morrison, an old school friend of Alex's, attended the party but left early, around 10 p.m. When Holland questioned him, Morrison said he went home and went to bed. The problem was, he lived alone in an apartment. No one could confirm his story. I met with Tyler Morrison at the auto parts store where he works. A 22-year-old guy with a nervous look. He clearly does not want to talk about that night. "I've told the police 100 times. I left at 10 p.m., went home, went to bed. I don't know anything else. Didn't see, didn't hear. People look at me as if I did something, but I didn't do anything." Holland checked Morrison thoroughly and found nothing linking him to the disappearance. He didn't own a car matching the description, his financial records showed nothing suspicious, and his phone analysis revealed no contacts with Alex after 9 p.m. But one person did draw serious attention from investigators. David Clark, a 42-year-old man living on the northern outskirts of Willowbrook, owned a black Ford Expedition, model year 2019. Clark lived in a secluded house in the woods without close neighbors, divorced, no children, worked remotely as a programmer. Asked about his whereabouts on Halloween night, Clark said he was at home alone. No one could confirm his alibi. Holland remembers his encounter with Clark. He was nervy, avoided eye contact. When I asked to look at his car, he hesitated but agreed. The vehicle was spotless, almost too clean, as if recently washed. But we found no trace of Alex, no evidence. Police searched Clark's house. Nothing suspicious was found. His computer was seized for analysis, but experts found nothing incriminating. The browsing history was routine: work, news, social media. No searches related to Alex Connor or his disappearance. Without enough grounds, Holland couldn't arrest Clark. The man stayed under observation, but 3 months after Alex's disappearance, Clark sold his house and moved away. His new whereabouts are unknown. I tried to contact David Clark for an interview. Requests through social media went unanswered. His ex-wife, whom I managed to find, refused to comment, saying only that they hadn't spoken in years. On November 7th, an event occurred that added yet another layer of mystery to the case. Deborah Connor received a letter by mail, a plain white envelope with no return address. Inside was a sheet of paper with printed text. "He is there where silence begins." The letter was sent from nearby Springfield on November 4th. Handwriting analysis yielded no results. The text was printed on an ordinary printer, and the paper and envelope were sold in dozens of stores across the region. There were no fingerprints. Holland and his team tried to interpret the phrase, "where silence begins." They checked cemeteries, churches, abandoned buildings, and secluded spots in the woods. No leads. Either someone was mocking them or hinting at something they simply could not decode. I still think about this phrase. What does it mean? Where does silence begin? By the end of November, the investigation slowed. Police had several leads, but none went anywhere. The black SUV was never identified, despite checking over 50 owners of such vehicles in the region. The anonymous letter could not be traced. The cryptic message remained a mystery. In December, another witness came forward. Maria Rodriguez, a gas station worker on the northern outskirts of town, reported that early on November 1st, around 3 a.m., she saw a black SUV at the station. The driver, a man in a dark jacket and baseball cap, filled up and bought a bottle of water, paid cash, and left. I met with Maria at her workplace, a 50-year-old woman who remembers the customer clearly. He kept his head down, didn't look at me. I thought it was strange, but you see all kinds at night, paid and left. Only after seeing the news did I realize it could be important. Security footage from the gas station shows a black Ford Expedition. License plates are dirty, unreadable. The driver wears a dark jacket and cap, his face is hidden. The only detail Holland noticed was a tattoo on the driver's wrist, but reviewing the footage, it's impossible to make out. The station is on the road heading north toward the New Hampshire border. If the SUV was really heading there after meeting Alex, it opened up an enormous search area. In January 2024, the final significant event in the case occurred. A tourist named James Cole, traveling through the northern forests, found a cell phone near an old forest road in Coos County, New Hampshire, roughly 30 kilometers from the Massachusetts border. The phone was badly damaged, screen shattered, case cracked. Cole turned it in to local police, who by serial number confirmed it was Alex Connor's phone. Holland was puzzled by this discovery. The phone was with Alex's car when we examined it, How did it end up in the woods 30 kilometers away? Either we made a mistake during the original inventory, or someone took the phone later and discarded it there. But why? Experts were able to partially recover data from the phone's memory. Among the restored files was a series of photos taken on the night of the disappearance. The last photo had a timestamp of 12:47 a.m. on November 1st. I've seen this photo. It's blurry, taken on the move or in poor lighting. You can see a dark interior, maybe a warehouse or a garage, with concrete walls and metal beams. In the upper corner of the ceiling, there is part of a human figure, but details are indistinguishable. Photo experts tried to enhance the image, but without success. It's impossible to say where the photo was taken or who is depicted. There's only one thing we can say for sure. Alex was alive and holding the phone at 12:47, 15 minutes after he got into the SUV. Today, almost 2 years after his disappearance, the case remains unsolved. The Connor family is offering a $50,000 reward for information leading to Alex's discovery. Deborah created a social media page, Find Alex Connor, which she regularly updates. I sit with Deborah again in her home. Alex's room on the second floor remains untouched. Books on the shelf, posters on the walls, clothes in his closet. Time stopped here on that Halloween night. Every morning I wake up and, for a second, I forget. Then I remember, and it all starts again. Not knowing what happened to your child is the worst thing. Is he dead? Alive? Suffering somewhere? I don't know. And it kills me every day. Detective Holland retired in the spring of 2024, but continues to work unofficially on the case. I can't let it go. Somewhere, there's the answer. Someone knows what happened to Alex. Maybe the hooded figure from the mall. Maybe David Clark. Maybe someone we never considered. But someone knows. In 2 years of investigation, I've collected hundreds of pages of documents, hours of interviews, countless records. I've driven thousands of kilometers following every lead, but there's still no answer. What happened to Alex Connor that night? Why did he first try to get away from the SUV and then get in voluntarily? Did he know the driver? If so, why was it a secret from everyone? Who sent the anonymous message, "I know where you are," on October 31st? Who followed him at the mall? Who wrote the cryptic letter to his mother? Where is the Black Ford expedition? Where did it go after meeting Alex? Why was the phone found in the woods 30 kilometers from the disappearance site? What does the phrase, "where silence begins," mean? None of these questions have answers. The case of Alex Connor remains one of New England's most mysterious, unsolved disappearances. The Willowbrook Police Department asks anyone with information to contact Detective Maria Sanchez, who is now responsible for the case. The hotline is open 24 hours a day. The Connor family continues to wait. Alex's room remains ready for his return. Deborah checks the social media page every day, hoping for a new lead. Robert quietly carries a photo of his son, and somewhere, maybe in the silence mentioned in that cryptic letter, lies the truth about what happened to a 20-year-old student on Halloween, 2023. If you know anything about the Alex Connor case, please contact Willowbrook Police at 800-550-212. Anonymity guaranteed. A $50,000 reward is offered for information leading to his discovery. Thank you for watching. For